What's up, everybody? I wanted to share with you my latest build. This is for PvP. Yes, people, there is PvP in the Division. I know it's not very good and there's not that many people that do it, but I get asked from time to time, do you have a PvP build? And I made one. And it was kind of fun making it. Now, finding people in the Dark Zone, that is not fun because there is none that I can find. And playing, conflict to me is also not very fun. So hopefully PvP gets great again. Yeah, I would really enjoy using this more often. But regardless of that, it's a good PvP build. I've got two versions. I've got an assault rifle version and a rifle version. The rifle version uses entrenched with overlord gloves and a better backpack to give me over 450,000 armor. And this is my assault rifle version. I use the gunner skill tree. Or the gunner spec, whatever you want to call it, specialization. I use it because it gives you 10% armor on kill. For me, that's 40,000 armor on kill. That's really good. You get the faster reloads every third reload. You get some ammo back. You get rate of fire after a kill. And this one's really nice if you're standing still. 20% weapon handling while not moving. You need to be motionless for 1 second. It's nice if you're not moving when you're using an Eagle Bearer, but it's whatever. The other thing that's really good, this is huge in PvP. Armor kits repair 100% of your armor and grant 50% bonus armor for 10 seconds. So when I use an armor kit, I actually get 600,000 armor for 10 seconds. It won't expire. I mean, it'll go away if they shoot you, but it lasts for 10 seconds. 600,000 armor. That's crazy. That's really, really high. So that's the main reason I'm using Gunner for this build, even though it's, not an LMG build or whatever, is because of the 10% armor on kill and this armor talent for your kit. So I spec into assault rifle, and marksman rifle. Those are the 3 different guns that I would use in PvP currently. And the other stuff I don't ever plan on using, but it's in there. I still have extra points that I haven't spent. Now, as far as the build, I use an Eagle Bearer. My base weapon damage on my Eagle Bearer is 26.4. Could be higher. It could also be a lot lower. It's pretty nice. If I didn't have an Eagle Bearer, I would either use my rifle build with an MDR. By the way, MDRs have 35% more headshot damage than all the other rifles, so it makes them superior. Or I would use something like a Mark 16, a P416, an AK, an ACR, something along the sort, paired up with a Nemesis rifle for headshot damage or a Chatterbox for rate of fire. So don't think just because you see me with an Eagle Bearer that this is an Eagle Bearer build. It's not necessarily true. The basis of this build is high armor, using Bloodsucker, On the Ropes, and Vital. Or not Vital, sorry. On the Ropes and Spotter. With a quick cooldown, I have a 10-second cooldown on my pulse. I've got a strong chem launcher heal. And, yeah, if you guys didn't know, pulse now stacks with spotter. Pulse goes on cooldown 3 seconds after you pulse now instead of on cooldown when it expires. So you can get the benefits of pulse and on the ropes with spotter all at the same time. It's great. But the real badass thing about this build is Bloodsucker. It is on my chest. My chest here, it's a Heliguard or a Gilligard Armadillo vest. It's got, almost 20,000 armor, 7% weapon damage. I rolled 30% total armor onto it. Bloodsucker, 2 defensive mod slots, and an offensive. Offensive, you want to look for assault rifle, weapon damage, damage to armor. This is a pretty nice mod. And then defensive slots, you want to do armor percent is priority. 4% is great. And then, armor on top of that. So these are giving me 8% armor and 5,000 base armor. Really good chest. Now, the way Bloodsucker works is when you deplete an enemy's armor, you get 25% of your armor on top of your armor. You don't have to kill them. You just need to deplete their armor. If they're running clutch in the PvP, you're going to have a real fun time because every time they clutch on you, they are going to heal 1% of their armor, and every time you deplete that armor, you're going to get 25% of your armor back, which for me is 100,000. If you're in normalized it'll only give you 20% instead of 25. It'll also only stack to 5 times, so a total of 100%. This will stack to 6 times. So you get 150% armor here if you break their armors a bunch of times. So check this out. We're just gonna stack up some armor here. Look at that. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Look at my armor bar. It is out of control. I don't even know what to do with all this armor. This is crazy. What do I do with all this armor? Over 1 million armor right now. But that's pretty crazy. On top of that, if you were to use a armor kit, you know, you'd be gaining 200,000 more armor or some crazy shit like that. And then if you're in cover with patience, you're regenerating 5% armor every 1 second, which is also a ton of armor. And then when you get kills, you're getting 10% of that armor back every time you get a kill. So it's just an out-of-control amount of armor gen on this build. So that is the main chest that you want to look for, something similar. You could go with more weapon damage and less armor if you wanted, or whatever. Now, your mask, you're going to need a... since I don't have a yellow on my chest, I have a red mod slot on my chest. Some people would have red on their backpack, but yellow mod slot on the chest is better than most backpacks, so keep that in mind. If your backpack does not have, you know, more than 7% weapon damage on it, then a red mod slot will do better, especially with damage to armor. Now, mask, Jillajard Javelina mask here is great because you can get a blue, you can get skill power, or a yellow, it doesn't matter, blue, yellow, spotter, and a yellow mod slot. You don't need damage to elites here. You don't need crit chance. So you're just looking for a blue and a yellow with the yellow mod slot because you need 7 yellows for on the ropes. You need 5 for spotter, and 5 is pretty easy to make. But spotter does 20% weapon damage to pulsed enemies, and everything's going to be pulsed pretty much all the time with this build because my pulse is on a 10-second cooldown, and it lasts for 10 seconds. So there might be a 3-second time when they aren't pulsed or something like that. I'm not really sure. I don't even think that's true. I think they're just going to be pulsed all the time. Now, backpack has room for improvement. Preferably what I would have on a backpack is 2 blues as the attribute, and then a yellow as an attribute and a yellow mod slot. What that would allow for is base armor, then armor percent, then a yellow. Then you want on the ropes, hardened. You don't want hard hitting here. Damage to elites does not do anything in the dark zone. This is just the best chest that I have that has enough yellow mod slots and armor and on the ropes for my build. Unfortunately, it's not great. I have a much better chest. Let me show you here. This one here puts me up to, with a mod slot in there, with the armor mod slot, puts me up to over 450,000 armor. But I can't use it because it doesn't have enough yellows. If this would have been a yellow mod slot, it would have been better. I would have had 436,000 armor because it has hardened, and it's got armor with the armor percent and skill power. This would be great. And as you can see, it's best off to not actually have the red on your backpack and make up for it with a red mod slot somewhere so that you can get the double armor stack. And yeah, on the ropes, as long as both your skills are on cooldown, you get 25% weapon damage. So that's a ton. We already have pretty high base weapon damage on this Eagle Bear, 26.4. But then with Spotter, you're getting another 20%. With on the ropes, you're getting another 25%. It's pretty crazy. Now, gloves. You're going to want to get compensated gloves because they give you 15% weapon damage. As long as your crit chance is below 20, which you're not going to really have any, maybe 10 from your Eagle Bear. And then you only can have 3 reds, but that's fine because you're not stacking a bunch of reds in this build. Preferably, I would roll this to 12% assault rifle. You got the compensated yellow mod slot, so this needs to be Jillajard Diamond Black gloves. And it's the only gloves that can really pull this off. You got the blue, the red, and the yellow here, as well as, you know, the Jillajard set bonus. Pretty good gloves. Knees, pretty basic here. Jillajard Sidewinder knee pads. You've got, you want to have high armor or armor percent. I have better armor rolls, but I just haven't really been bothered to roll it. It's not much better. You could go with like some 12% armor here. It depends on your total base armor, whether the percent will be better than the base here. But two blue mod slots. Patience, when you're in cover for 5 seconds, you get 5% armor every second. That's actually a lot with this build. That's like what? So you get 5,000 for every... That's 20,000 armor every second if you're in cover with this build. That is a lot. 20,000 armor a second on top of, getting armor when you're getting kills, getting armor when you're depleting armor. It's just insane. And then your med kits, and it's out of control, all the armor on this build. Now, the holster, this is really important. I haven't re-rolled it. I actually am probably going to roll this to headshot damage instead of weapon damage, but I don't have the electronics. I'm still trying to do other builds, and I'm putting the electronics towards them. So for the time being, devastating is fine, but I do want to put precise on this for that 15% headshot. The reason you need a double yellow Fenris is to get this 7 yellows for on the ropes. You also need 11 blues for Bloodsucker. I don't know if I said that earlier, but you do need 11 blues. But Fenris is also the only way you're going to get that assault rifle damage bonus if you're not running a Fenris chest. So this is really important piece to this build is the double yellow Fenris holster. This is what was holding me back from doing the assault rifle build versus my rifle build, is I did not have the double yellow Fenris holster. So if you find one of these, hold on to it, because it's going to be pretty hard to make this build without it. Unless you have a yellow on your chest or 3 yellows on your backpack, it's going to be hard to do. Now, some people will have a yellow on their chest, and they'll use a red on their backpack, or they'll only have 2 reds. Those all work. You don't need to follow this exactly. A 2 red build would still be really strong, so don't think just because you only have 2 reds that it wouldn't be strong enough in PvP. There's some people that have almost 500,000 armor, and they're only running 2 reds, or, they might even be running 1 red, but it's still going to be good in PvP. You don't need that much reds because of the spotter and the on the ropes. It's just crazy amount of damage that you're going to be doing, and compensated, because compensated is adding you 15. Now, as far as skills, you want to go with Pulse. Depending on your skill power and your mod selection, you can use a battery. I have a battery in here on one of these slots. Actually, I lied. I don't actually have a battery at all. I find that I get better skill haste by running 2 low skill power mods. 2,000 and to 2,200 here is giving me, closer to 300% skill haste. Whereas if I was using 1,000 skill power battery and then my best skill haste mod, I'd only have 182. So you can see that it's much better to have 2 of these low skill power requirement ones rather than a battery and 1. Now, a remote skill haste does not work, so don't look at that number. It's fake news. Now, Chem Launcher. So as you can see here, 10-second cooldown, 10-second duration. That's pretty badass. It's up all the time. Chem Launcher here, we've got, what do we have? 86,000 health on a heal. I think I've had this better. I might be able to rework my mods. I swear I had this up to 97 or 105, but I'm not certain. That might have been on my rifle version of the build. I think I had a yellow mod slot or something extra. I'm not certain why this is only 86, but maybe this is the best I have. But again, you want to look at your mods and compare them, whether you need a skill power battery or if you have 2 low power mods that will add up more. And I had to use a battery here to get 2,300 skill power. And the one I'm using is 2,100 requirement, so plus 70% heal. But if you had 1,600 skill power without a battery, you could run 2 of these, or 1,700. You could run, 250s or 260s and be at 120% heal. So it really depends how much skill power you have on your build of what mods you want to run. Sidearm, make sure you have something that has protected reload. I don't ever use my sidearm, but protected reload is really big in this. I'm getting 40,000 armor while I reload my gun. That's a lot. That's a lot of armor to have while you're reloading. So keep that in mind. The other thing that's real nice is In Rhythm. Now, some people don't like In Rhythm because it will pop off your cooldowns from being able to do damage with your what's it called, on the ropes. But at the same time, it can be useful. So you might not want In Rhythm. You might want In Rhythm. It's up to you. Another one that's really good is, I think it's called Rooted. Rooted is another good one here. When you're in cover, all healing is increased by 25% for 10 seconds. So if you're in cover and you shoot people with Bloodsucker, if you are in cover and you're getting stuff back from your patience or your armor on kill, Rooted is a great talent because you'll be getting 25% more armor than you normally would have. It can only happen once every 60 seconds, one time lasting 10 seconds every 60 seconds. So that's a good choice if you're not going to run, what's it called? In Rhythm. But I think I covered everything. As far as gun mods, if you don't have an Eagle Bearer, you want to make sure you run the C79 headshot damage scope if you're running a Nemesis. The reason why is this is a zoom scope, and you don't actually have to zoom in. You just need to use it, and you'll get the 25% headshot damage from the Nemesis rifle. If you're not running the C79 scope, and you're using like a Chatterbox, then you don't need damage to elites. So you might want to add in some crit chance or something to your scope, accuracy, whatever you feel like. But keep that in mind. This does not need an Eagle Bearer, so don't think that this build only applies to Eagle Bearers. But it's really good in PvP. Some people might want to see the damage. I guess we can show it off here. I don't do a ton of damage to elites because I don't have, any damage to elites here. But it's not weak. It does a decent amount of damage. Here, let's get our Eagle Bearer proc. And then
Agent in need of backup.
Here we go. As you can see, I'm getting 1.3 million DPS on these targets here. That's pretty damn good for a non-damage to elites PvP build. 1.8 million now? Wow. Oh, it's because now we're up to 2 million. Okay. I'm happy with that. 2 million, 2.2 million DPS, no damage to elites PvP build with 400,000 armor and Bloodsucker. This is pretty impressive. I'm really happy with this build. Unfortunately, I haven't really used it because PvP is pretty dead right now and I can't really ever find friends to do it. But if I was gonna PvP, this is the build that I would use. So, highly recommend it. Even if you don't intend on PvPing, at least this is something that you can do for fun in case you decide to do it one day. It's nice to have something new and fresh in this game to try to achieve and make a new build. It's definitely pieces of gear that you would normally, throw away. Like who the hell uses a blue-yellow Gillijard mask? Or this ugly-ass backpack here? Nobody. Or this holster here? Nobody uses that crap. But if you have a build like this, you will use it. So it's kind of cool. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be posting up a bunch of other builds that I've been working on for the past month in the next few days. I'll try to post a new one every day for at least the next few days. I'm starting to do raid speed runs. I'm down to like 11 minutes in my best run, but I'm trying to get my main group to the point where we can consistently run them in like that type of range. So there's a lot of new builds we've been working on. We just recently tried to start getting into this speedrun thing, and it's a lot of weird builds. So check out my other videos, and you can see the different builds that I use throughout the raid. And I also have some good just all-around assault rifle armor builds, assault rifle clutch builds, sniper builds, whatever. So check them out, guys. I'm always streaming almost every day, Twitch TV /Inigo Montoya. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Later, guys, and thanks for watching.